Hello, hello. Just working on twisting up the wire at the moment. It's good to be watching. Hey, how you doing, Chris? If you were on earlier, I apologize. I had to pop off for a minute. Had to go help my grandmother with some stuff. She was in need of assistance, so I was assisting her, so I had to pop off the live stream earlier. I ended up deleting that because we were only on for like a minute or two. But I am back at it again. What I've got so far, I've got a video coming out on this here in a good while, but I've got a section of chainmail started, as you can see, and I am working on eventually being the key word here, making an entire chainmail shirt for myself. I'm planning on making a set of armor for when I go to Renaissance fairs to sell stuff, because the Renaissance fairs that are here in Utah have, you know, like a dress code where you have to be in medieval attire if you're selling. So I'm going to get some like medieval peasant scarves, and I'm going to make myself a set of armor to go with it, kind of like a ranger's armor set. Just, you know, fit the aesthetic, help start some chit chat, things like that with people, do small talk, and hopefully help encourage sales while I'm there. Right now I'm wrapping essentially a spring, which is the first step, and I'll kind of go through step by step how I do this, just in case you guys ever get a wild hair up your butt and decide you want to try and be crazy like me and make an entire chainmail shirt, because it's a long process. Yeah, we shall see. I mean, if sales don't pick up a lot, I'm not too concerned, just because this isn't my primary source of income at the moment, but eventually it will be when this is busy enough for me to be full-time. But this is kind of my part-time thing at the moment, just come out here and work on stuff, make stuff. But I've always wanted to make some armor. So here's our first step, is we take some baling wire, we put it through a tube in the vise, and we clamp it down on the other end of a tube, and then we twist it up into essentially a spring. From there, I'll kind of just compress it down to make sure all the links are nice and uniform, and then slide it off. Sometimes I have to pull it out with a pair of pliers on one end like that, and then we can work it free. I'd say blacksmithing is cheaper than therapy, but I'd be lying. Me too, man. Me too. And I have to agree with you there. Blacksmithing is not exactly the cheapest, let's say, side job to put yourself into. So here we have our coil, right? So the next step is going to be taking a pair of wire cutters. Just cut this tag off real quick. And cut this end off. Right about here is where it starts to get even again. And then I'll reorient you guys in a nice comfortable position, because this is going to take a minute to do. And now we're going to, one link at a time, cut these loops. So I take the flat end of the cutters and I go right up against where it makes a full circle, clip that off, like thusly. Then we take a hammer and we turn it into a flat ring. And we'll just make a nice pile of flat rings out of this. One at a time. assuming it doesn't slide off. That'll happen from time to time. And I'm not making riveted mail. Like the title says, this is going to be butted mail. Just because I don't have the patience to make riveted mail. But I do have the patience to make butted mail. Butted mail is just basically the two ends come together and you kind of tap them together to keep them from coming apart. Whereas riveted mail, you actually rivet each and every link together. And I am not about to rivet 5,000 plus links together to make a chainmail shirt. I'll just do the clamp it together variety, or the butt it together variety. Because I may be insane, but I am not that insane. Crap. How's everybody's day going today? Anything exciting going on for anybody? There goes that. Yeah, that was going to fall off sooner or later. We'll just put those there for now. Don't do that. Come here. Piece of crap. I need to do some handles on some knives I made. Ah, fairy rasp knives. Those are always fun. Are they like a hunting style knife? Like, did you cut them shorter and make them hunting knives, or are they more like Bowies, camp knives, big guys, small guys? What kind of knives are we talking about here? I like knives, as you well know by now. Farrier's rasp knives are always fun. Some shorter drop points. Okay, cool. And I don't know where that one went. Oh well. We'll find it eventually. One for the blooper reel, right? One as I cut it out like a Tonto. Oh, nice. Yeah, those are always fun. I like Tonto style knives. I mean, I like all knives, but Tontos are nice because when I was doing Taekwondo, there was a sister art to Taekwondo called Haidon Gundo, and it is the Korean sword martial art, essentially. It's basically, think like Korean samurai, in a sense. And we trained with Tanto, we trained with Wakizashi, we trained with Katana, and we mixed it. It was a mixed martial art with Taekwondo. So what that means is, like, you train swords and knives and kicks and all that stuff together. It was so much fun. There's nothing quite like flying around with a sharp sword in your hand when you're doing spinning kicks. Dangerous as all hell, but fun as heck too. I'm amazed I never slashed myself doing it, but it's probably also because we trained with blunt swords a lot before we ever did anything with the sharp swords. Where do you do your martial arts? I'd love to start learning. So, for Taekwondo, I trained at Kim's Academy in Sunset under Grandmaster Youngwoo Kim. He was an old South Korean guy. He used to teach hand-to-hand combat for the Korean Army, for South Korean Army, before he came over to train a couple of Olympic U.S. Taekwondo fighters here. And then he retired and created a Taekwondo dojang here in Utah. He's got a couple of branches, but if you can go to the one where he's done now. He was in his 70s when I was learning from him, and that was a while back. So he's completely retired now, but his son took up his mantle. And if you can go to the one where his son is teaching, that would be awesome. Otherwise, I would recommend the one in Roy. The master there is one of his really, really long-time students. He's very, very well trained as well. Very traditional school. And that's where I trained Taekwondo until I got my black belt there. I taught there for, I want to say 2 years before I moved into all the other martial arts I did, like boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, and then eventually joined in MMA. And that was at Maury's, and that is also in Roy, kind of just past Riverdale in Roy. And it's a mixed martial arts gym. And that's where I started doing Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and eventually MMA. So that's where I started training. I don't know if you're around the area that I'm around in northern Utah, but that's where I went here. Maury's Jiu-Jitsu classes are a Gracie style thing. That's interesting. I'm from Ogden, actually. It was pretty good. Steve. Oh, cool. Yeah, so I mean, I would definitely check them out. Kim's Academy of Taekwondo is where Grandmaster Kim and his son used to be, or probably still are. And then Maury's, just past Riverdale, behind that McDonald's, there's a building back there that's rather large. And they teach everything from boxing to Muay Thai to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's Gracie style Jiu-Jitsu, so it's the good style Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, not the crappy, understudy Jiu-Jitsu, let's say. And then they do MMA teaching, they do local fights, they do smoker fights, they do all kinds of stuff. But I would definitely recommend it. I would not recommend the ultimate, I can't even remember the name of it. It's the ultimate karate or something like that school around here. That place is not good. After I got my black belt in Taekwondo and I was checking out other martial arts gyms, I went there and they wanted to assess me, so I sparred with one of their instructors, and I thought they were talking like, let's actually spar. No, they were talking, let's play footsie. So after about 5 minutes of me whooping up on their instructor, I decided that was not the gym for me, and I went somewhere else. And I'm glad I did, because I ended up at Maury's. I had another buddy, and he trained at Foley's for his MMA stuff, and Foley's is pretty good too. They've got some good fighters that come out of there as well. They're more boxing focused than kickboxing, but they do teach good kickboxing. They do teach Muay Thai, but if you're looking to get more kickboxing focused and Muay Thai focused striking, I would recommend Maury's more, because I don't know if he's still the same guy, but the guy that I learned from up there was a world Muay Thai champion that they had on as the teacher for a while, and that dude was drill sergeant levels of intense. He works you hard, but he gets your results. But I haven't been in the active martial arts scene in quite some time. Now I just teach my friends and family and train at home to stay in shape and keep sharp. Because aside from working and doing my blacksmithing stuff, which has become my passion nowadays, I just don't really have the time to spend 8 hours a day in the gym like I used to. I mean, when I say I was training, I was spending 8 hours a day, 7 days a week at the gym like a full-time job because I wanted to do it professionally. Had a buddy take me to Maury's for a lesson a few years ago. Yeah, Maury's is great, man. I absolutely love Maury's. They're pretty strict on a lot of things, but they're not strict in a way that you can't have fun. They're a lot of fun. You just have to be ready for, training to be a fighter. Because if you're going there and you're expecting it to be like a soft-skinned, like modernized, westernized martial arts gym, that's not what it is. I mean, I'm sure you've seen from going there, it's an actual martial arts gym. You're actually going to train to learn how to fight there. It was really weird. When I was going to Maury's for the jiu-jitsu classes, the art teacher at the school that I went to was actually training there too. And I ended up rolling with my art teacher several times. And I mean, this man, he outweighed me by like 150 pounds, and he outsized me by a good 7-8 inches. So it was pretty fun. Yeah. It's a great gym to train at. It's a lot of fun. There's great guys there. They're going to work hard and play hard. It's a great place to go train. I can't recommend it enough. We're almost done flattening out this set of rings, and then we can finally start to assemble it. We've got that much of this coil left from where we started. But yeah, nowadays I just kind of train at home and with some friends. Teach the friends that never went to the gyms. Teach the wife how to protect herself. Just train to stay in shape. Kind of keep the techniques that I already had. That way I don't lose stuff. A couple years ago I had a traumatic brain injury at one of the jobs I was working. I had some bricks fall on my head, and that set me back quite a bit, so I've been working to kind of reattain some of the stuff that I lost because of that injury. So sometimes my balance is gone, sometimes my technique goes right out the window because my body kind of forgets what it's supposed to do. But I still keep trucking on. I'm not going to let that stop me from doing what I did. Because, I mean, I started training in Taekwondo at 8 years old, and I trained until I was almost 19. So, a good 11 years of my life was spent in a martial arts gym, like it was a job. So, it's a big part of who I am, that's for sure. The wife kind of domesticated me, though. Ever since I've been with the wife, she's calmed me down quite a bit. That's awesome. Yeah, one thing about TBIs that I learned after I went through mine is they can kind of rewire your brain. Like before, I was a much more hyper-aggressive kind of person. I was a lot more unruly, let's say, than I am now. And it helped to, I wouldn't say it brought out my creative side so much as it helped me focus on what I wanted to do, especially after recovering. But yeah, I can definitely see that. TBIs are really weird. The brain is really weird. The TBI is either going to destroy you or it's going to kind of rewire you. It's very weird. In my case, it destroyed me for about a year, and then it started rewiring me after that. I wouldn't say I'm talented, but I'm more focused than I was before, that's for sure. But there's all the rings that came out of that piece that we had. So now we can go ahead and take these rings and start incorporating them into our piece of mail. Put these right here. Set this guy up here. So when I stopped last time, I had set up one more loop or one more chain, and I hadn't reintegrated it, which is kind of how I'm doing these step by step. Do you feel like whether it destroys you or it's based on attitude? I feel like that's a big part of it, for sure. Outlook is a big thing, and the mind is the control tower of the body. The way that you heal is going to be based off of several factors, including how you push yourself to heal. So I feel like attitude does play a part in it for sure. But what I got here is basically I'll make a chain link like this that's as long as this quilt that I've got going on, let's say, and then I'll take one link at a time and reintegrate it into the overall piece. And this eventually does make a 5-in-1 link, because you've got the piece running through here, you've got the piece attached to it on either side, and you end up with 5 pieces of link on each side. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I explain this as well. But yeah, I would say it's definitely a part of it. How you view your recovery is definitely a part of how you're going to recover. If you think it's going to end your life, it is, because you're going to act like your life is over. If you feel like it's going to be something you can overcome, you'll overcome it, because you'll work every day to overcome it. But that kind of, in my opinion, that kind of goes for almost everything in life. Your outlook is a very big part of how you function. A lot of people say, oh, it's manifestation, and I just say, no, it's the way reality works. It's willpower. It's the way that you act is the way you will eventually become. The things you think about yourself and say about yourself eventually will become who you are. It's that old Stoicism saying of, so a man thinks that is, or what was it, as a man thinketh, so shall he become, or that shall he become, or some shit like that. It's very true. As a man thinketh, so is he, or something like that. Like I said, my memory is not the greatest, and I'm not going to pretend that it is. This is going to take me so long to actually make an armor piece out of this to make the chainmail shirt. That's why I didn't actually put making a chainmail shirt in the description of this video. That's why the name of this live stream is Let's Make Some Butted Mail. Because we're just making the butted chainmail, and we're making as much of it as we can today. I'm probably going to run out of wire on this live stream and have to go get some more before I do any more of this. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. It's probably going to take like 20 pounds of wire in order to make this thing. But one link at a time, we will make some chainmail, and I will have my chainmail shirt. And then it'll last for the rest of my life, and I'll be happy. This is not a process that happens in the course of 20 minutes. It's one reason I decided to live stream this. So that way when people watch the video later, they can come back and watch the live stream and see how long it actually takes to make each section of this. right now I'm just trying to make a piece that's long enough to go from the top of my chest to the bottom of my chest. Then after that, I'll start working on the width. And then after I make one set that covers one side of my body, I'll have to make one that covers the back for my back, and then I'll have to make 2 sets that connect the sides, then some sleeves. So there, we've just added another section to it, as you can see. Now I can set this over here for now and make another set of 9 real quick, so we can integrate that. When I made that brass wire mail, that didn't take anywhere near as long as this because that was just twisted wires that I linked together. And that took me about an hour and a half to make. It was not that long of a process compared to this. But it's nowhere near as strong as this will be. And it's made out of an inferior metal, so. Plus, it's not period accurate, so I wouldn't be able to wear it to the Renaissance Fair. That's 6. Thanks everybody for being here. I really do appreciate it. Like chit-chatting and BSing with my viewers. Definitely makes something like this go by a lot faster. Come on. There we go. Are you going to set up a booth at the Ren Fair? Not this year, but next year. Do you have a rod through your flap disc, or are they sitting in a box? Oh, yeah, they're sitting in a little wire box that I made back there. I just welded up some rods to make a little basket for them. And they're actually not flap discs, they're polishing discs. I have them in 80 grit all the way up to 4 or 6, I think 4,000 grit is the highest, but they're a silica carbide polish disc. It's one way I get my stuff so shiny so fast. You can buy them at Harbor Freight for super cheap. Oh crap, that's RV. How you doing, brother? You have the same set? Yeah, they work great, bro. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to talk to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But yeah, I'm making some budded mail. Working on making a chainmail set. But yeah, I don't have a booth at the Ren Fair this year. I know the guy that runs the booths there. He's one of the master smiths in my guild. So next year, hopefully, I'll be able to get a booth because they are all filled up already for this year. Gotta get in it really far ahead of time. That's why I'm starting on the mail now, because it's going to take me several months to actually get this all set up. Oh yeah, I would definitely try them out, man. Make sure you're wearing a respirator when you use them though, just because they kick up a lot of dust and it's silica, and you do not want to inhale that. You will be coughing up colored pigment stuff all month and your chest will hurt. It's just not a good time. So yeah, make sure that you wear a respirator when you use them, brother. Oh, yes, absolutely, man. I don't make it to all of them, But that Great Basin Blacksmith Guild, man, I've learned so much from those guys, and they're all great dudes. They're all great dudes. I would love to see you there. We just the last one just happened down at Blue Rose Forge, and I didn't make it out to that one because I had some family stuff going on that popped up last minute. But I do plan on making it out to the next one whenever I can. Yeah, hopefully we end up at the same guild meeting one of these days. Meet you in person. Maybe we can do like a collaboration video or something. Oh, for sure, bro. For sure. I'm actually looking at building myself a treadle hammer here in the shop here soon with my 12-pound hand sledge that you've probably seen me use in some of my videos, because swinging that 12-pound hammer with one hand, man, that tires me out. It's quite a lot of work. Draws out my steel rather fast. Every time that I'm integrating these links as I get towards the end, it gets kind of tricky to make sure I'm setting the right rings together. I don't know how patient the guys that made this stuff in the medieval period had to be in order to make this stuff. It's just absurd to me. For how long it takes, like, those guys must have been some real patient individuals. Either that or they were just bored out of their gourd and this was the only thing they had for entertainment. Probably a mix of the two. It's like crocheting for men. I never thought of that, but yeah, you are absolutely right, bro. You are absolutely right on that one. Right on the money. I'm knitting a sweater. How are you doing that? With a hammer and some metal. Taking some steel wire and turning it into rings and then making them rings into something that I can wear. Tell you what, chainmail is going to stop a lot more cuts than crocheted sweater will, but it ain't going to help you one damn bit with cold weather. I can imagine this is going to be really, really cold in the winter. But we're making progress. It's getting longer. Slowly but surely. Now I've got it, let me see. So I've got it from the neck to about right here. Now I just need to bring it all the way down to here. Then once it's long enough to do that, I've got to duplicate it across the chest, then do one for my back, then do the shoulder sections, the side sections, and then the sleeves. So that's why I'm saying this is going to be a incredibly long project. I mean, this is probably going to be what I do on live streams for the foreseeable future. I'm going to still do other stuff and other projects for my videos like I do, but for live streams, this will probably be what I do for live streams, just because it takes so long, and I just don't want to sit there and edit 200 freaking plus hours of footage of me making loop after loop and ring after ring to make this thing. And you guys will definitely be seeing this in videos once I get this done, because I plan on making myself a helmet, I plan on making myself some pauldrons, I plan on making myself some greaves. Like, we're talking a whole armor set. This chainmail shirt that I'm making is just going to be the base for my armor set. It's just going to be a long process. Oh yes, definitely going to be a process. It's going to be a long one. But the cool thing is, we can all experience this together, bit by bit, piece by piece, as I make the stuff. And then I'll probably do some goofy videos in armor, just, you know, like the skit videos that I do for shorts, but with armor, so I'm not just wearing normal everyday clothes in the skits. That'll probably help increase viewers, because, you know, for some reason, if you're not dressed the part, half the people will just click off the video. But people don't realize how much money it costs to buy an armor set, let alone how much time it takes to make one. The closest thing I've done to armor is G for a scabbard. Yeah, those are difficult. I've done one of those before, and they are not the smoothest, easiest thing to just pound out, for sure. Having jigs and the right tooling for it will definitely help out a lot, and practice is one of those things that you have to do to get something like that to be, you know, a repeatable, easy process. Because the first time you do anything, it's going to be, especially stuff like a chape on a scabbard, that's just every time it's going to be a big pain in the ass when you first do it. Like, I can't tell you guys, when I first started making this, how many times I literally tore apart and rebuilt the first 2 rows of it before I figured out how to do this properly, let's say. Because you think in your mind, oh, it's very simple. You just make the rings, and then you link them together, and then you get them to touch. But to get them to be mated well enough to where they don't just fall apart when you shake it, let alone when it's linked together, it's a lot more of a process than I initially was ready for, let's say. Oh, come on. Stay on the anvil. No. Cooperate. Cooperate. Okay, we're going to have to start turning it sideways. It's getting too big and too much weight on one side. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna be at this for a couple hours today, so the stream's gonna be kind of a long one today. I'm already anticipating that. But we're gonna see just how far we can get this in one day. Who knows? We might get the front a decent way started. If I can get, out of this amount of wire, if I can get just the front of the chest done, that will give me hope for the rest of this project. Because this is how much wire I have left for today. My plan is to go through all of that wire today. And the reason I'm so dead set on doing as much as I can today is because the weather is going to be crap for the rest of the week after today. It's supposed to snow like a son of a gun for the rest of the week. So I want to get it going while the weather's good. Because doing this in the cold would just be a huge pain in the butt because of all the small motor movements from your fingers that you have to do in order to actually do this stuff. This is the first time I've ever done chainmail too, so I want to do it right. I watched a couple of videos from some YouTubers that are actual armor makers. Nah, I thought winter was over too, man, but you know how Utah is. Utah, you never know if winter's over for sure. It snowed until July here before, man. And then there's been years where summer started in February. But you just never know with Utah. Our weather's just stupid sometimes. Thank you guys for all the likes, by the way. I really appreciate that. From what I've noticed, whenever we get more likes on the stream, it helps push it out to more people. Because YouTube is all about engagement. So it's really helpful. I do appreciate that. I mean, 4 likes on a stream doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but for me, that's a lot of likes on the stream. Here in a sec, we're going to have to twist another coil and cut and flatten a bunch more of these because we're running out of rings. I appreciate that very much, man. I'm not sure if I agree about it being super entertaining, though. I'm just tapping rings over and over and then twisting metal and tapping rings. It's cool. It's satisfying to watch the process, I'm sure. Like, for me, it's really satisfying every time I add a layer to it because it's getting longer and it's growing slowly but surely. It's getting bigger. It's biggening. But it takes a long time. This thing seems like it's going to be so uncomfortable to wear. But I appreciate that you'd rather watch me than somebody live streaming Minecraft or whatever. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sweet. Oh, damn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to have enough to link all this together. I'm going to have to take a second in between. That sucks. I have to remember where I left off when I do this. But I do feel like I've gotten a little faster at putting it together since I've been repeating it, and I feel like as I do more of this, I'll get a little quicker and a little quicker, and eventually this will be a faster process. But for the moment, it's just a 1 second at a time kind of thing. Have you found that live streaming helps gain subscribers? Somewhat. I mean, I always get 1 or 2 new subscribers per live stream, but usually they don't really stick around very long in terms of watching the stream. I get a lot of my subscribers from my shorts. I've noticed most of my subscribers come from shorts videos because YouTube, since shorts is like the new thing, YouTube is really pushing shorts hard. And what I'll do is I'll make a short and then I'll make it a related video. So it'll be like, I'm sure you've noticed, it'll be clips from the actual full-length videos that I do. And then I'll make it a related video to my long-form videos. And I've noticed doing that, I'll get a lot more subscribers because people will be scrolling through shorts and then they'll find one of my short videos. And if they're interested in it, they'll either subscribe or they'll click on the related video and then they'll end up watching the long-form video. And at that point, either subscribing or if they've already subscribed, then they'll start watching more of the long-form content. So I feel like, sadly, if you're not doing shorts right now on YouTube, your reach is hampered because that's what YouTube is pushing out, is the shorts over anything else. The live streams like I said, I do get a couple subscribers from time to time on it, but a lot of the time they don't last very long, or they just don't watch very many of my videos compared to other people that I get from the shorts. Yeah, I that's exactly how I feel about it too, Chris, because the long form content goes more in depth. Like the short videos is just, it's the minimal amount of time that I'm allowed to actually show the process, and I have to show it fast in order for it to be considered entertaining by a lot of people. I just feel like a lot of people nowadays have way too short of an attention span to actually sit and watch stuff like this. That's why I appreciate people like you guys who actually have a good attention span and actually enjoy watching the art, because it's a long process. I mean, you can't just do stuff like this in 60 seconds. That's for sure. So I'm gonna make me a couple more loops here because we ran out of loops. And I have done this in a drill, and it is a lot faster to do in a drill, but I've also noticed that the rings are a lot more uneven when I use a drill. So doing it by hand is actually a little bit more efficient because I don't have to worry about it being uneven. That way I don't end up with a bunch of rings of different sizes. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I try to make everything a blend of art and function because, I mean, when you look around in the modern day, everything's had the beauty stripped out of it, you know? Like if you look at the 1800s and sooner, especially the Victorian era, buildings were made to be beautiful. Something as simple as a chair was made with beauty in mind, not just function. Like this raw, brutalist, consumeristic style shit we make nowadays. Everything that people make for the most part nowadays is just raw function, no beauty. And in a small way, I feel like my goal is, bring some beauty back into this world, one step at a time. I mean, is it going to be a Picasso or a Rembrandt or something of that caliber? Probably not, because I don't have the skills to do that level of stuff. But if I can just bring a little bit of beauty back in to the functional things that people use, maybe I can bring a little bit of that back into the mindset of people. Because I do feel like one reason so many people are depressed nowadays is because the beauty in this world's been stripped out of it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. That kind of stuff. I feel like we need to, especially the men nowadays, we need to bring beauty back into this world. Give people something that's uplifting in their everyday. I mean, you used to walk down the streets in the Victorian era and see all these gorgeous, gorgeous buildings, all these beautiful statues and paintings, and it was uplifting. It brought some hope to people. I feel like that's missing in the modern day. That's one reason so many people are just so depressed, is there's no beauty. They've got a 5-second attention span and no hope. You know? It's really sad. I don't know if you can hear all that heavy equipment out there, but that's my neighbors. Yeah, exactly. Even the lampposts, even the water drains, even the drains for your gutters and your sewage systems had ornation on them. Back when people actually cared about making things pretty, instead of just making it as cost effective and as beautiful as as cost effective and as straightforward as possible. I mean, you look at a modern like apartment complex, it's a box prison where you just stuff a bunch of families on top of each other. Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of that's just because it used to be independent craftsmen and small businesses everywhere, and now it's these big businesses, big corporations, and all they care about is their bottom line. They don't care about people the way people used to care about people. They just care about, how much is this going to affect my bottom line? How much money am I going to be able to make? Gotta drop for a meeting, but I'll keep your stream. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Hopefully your meeting goes well. Alrighty. Get this angled back over here, and I got another spring. Give me just a second, I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. Gotta have a little bit of black coffee. Keep the hair on your chest. Caffeine and nicotine. Don't do nicotine, boys and girls. It's bad for you. It's addictive. All that stuff. Make a little section here for my pile. Yep, same here, man. Same here. I just have to say that for like guidelines purposes and stuff, so that way they don't go, oh my gosh, he's pushing the harmful things. Like, I'm not pushing it. I'm not telling anybody to do it. But I'm going to do it. Now, if they would sponsor me, that would be a different story. Ooh, somebody's yelling at their kid. Somebody's in trouble. Somebody's in trouble. That neighbor kid's always getting himself in trouble. Reminds me of me when I was a little scamp. The other day, he stole one of his dad's hammers and went and dented the crap out of the shed that they have in their backyard. I'm out here working on this, and all I hear is bam, bam, bam on the side of some galvanized steel. Oh yeah, absolutely. They definitely should sponsor us. I mean, we are the ones that use their product. We're the best representation for their market that they have. Yes. Oh crap, my mother's here. Hello, mother. Hello, mother. Must be awfully bored to be watching one of my live streams. I am making some butted chainmail, if you're curious. Well, that one got all screwed up. That'll happen from time to time. In the grand scheme of things, one ring ain't gonna hurt nothing. Take like 1,000+ rings in order to make this crap. Probably closer to 5,000 when you consider you have to do the front, the back, the shoulders, the sleeves, the waist, all that stuff. But one ring at a time. One ring at a time, we will make a way. You don't eat an elephant all at once. You eat it one bite at a time. In this case, the chainmail shirt is the elephant. And one bite is one ring. Yeah, see, even my mother agrees I used to be a little hellion. But you gotta get that shit out of you at a young age, man. Gotta be a little monster when you're young, so that way when you grow up you can have gotten it all out of you. Alrighty. Another set of rings. Get this set back up and finish attaching this section. Boys definitely need to be mischievous and learn lessons the hard way every now and then, at least. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I feel like that's one problem with the school system we have nowadays. Like, kids, little boys especially, act like little boys, and then the teacher's like, they can't sit still, they can't sit still. It's like, little boys aren't meant, little kids in general, but especially little boys, are not designed to sit still for 8 hours a day in a classroom and stare at a boring teacher. It's just, that's not what we're designed for. We're not meant for that stuff. We're meant to be roughhousing and learning how to live and learning how to move and learning how to use our bodies and interact with our environment and all that stuff. And then they say, oh, the little boy, he's being a problem. He's being a problem. He won't sit still. Give him these drugs to shut him up. He's got ADHD. No, he's got little boy syndrome. He's a little boy doing little boy things. There's nothing wrong with that child. There's something desperately wrong with a teacher that would say that about a child. That's for sure. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with that child. He's just doing what little boys do. It's just like they call the principal for little boys roughhousing. It's like, that's how they learn their boundaries. That's how they learn what's play and what's not. That's how they distinguish between a fight and play. That's how they distinguish between danger and fun. And if they don't get that experience at a young age, then they never learn to distinguish danger from fun, and you end up with all these guys running around going, oh my god, he said something bad about me, he's using violence. That's not violence. Those are words. Words can't be violence. That's just not how words work. Violence is when I punch you in the face for being an idiot. That's violence. more you coddle children, the more you end up with adults that are children running around, not understanding the nature of reality. All right, there's another set added to the link. Now let's make another set of 9. That could be beard. Oh well, there's actually a company. Oh Lord. Beard jewelry. Is that for those very large, bustly gay men that they call bears? Like, I must accessorize my face foliage. Two more. All right. All in all, it's just another link in the chain. Goodness gracious. Great balls of what the hell. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's what we're doing. And every time I do this, I have to flip some of them back over so I can see which one's which. That way I actually can tie them together correctly. See you tomorrow. Love you, Mom. It's the first time she's ever stopped by one of my live streams. That was pretty funny. Never expected to see her on here. Just put one link in front of the other, and soon you'll be marching off to war. Just put one link in front of the other, and soon you won't need to fear slashes anymore. Now, some would say that if you wear chainmail, you could get stabbed real easy. Well, they may be right, but at least I won't get slashed on the ass that well. making progress. Easily doubled the size of it on this stream so far. Six, 7, ocho, and nueve. You know, when you study history and you find out how expensive chainmail was back in the day, you're like, that's absurd. Why would anything cost that much? And then you try and make it yourself, and you're like, I would charge so much money for something like this. Now I understand. Now I get it. Now I see why these were so expensive. Because it took forever. Just took for frickin' ever to make. Oh yeah, exactly. It would have been just so exorbitantly expensive for anyone to afford. I can see why, like, most people just went to war in their normal clothes. It's like, well, if I die, I die. I mean, I can't afford it. I mean, a bunch of dudes would just, they would only get their armor as an heirloom. Like, they would get it passed down from father to son. Because it's like, it's got a hole in it, but it's, it'll save your life in the battle, son. Saved mine once. And I mean, I could see why they would repair these rather than anything else, because probably a lot cheaper to have it repaired than have a new set made. I mean, you definitely have to have it custom fitted, unless you're the exact same size as your dad. But we're getting somewhere. It's getting longer and longer. Alright, time to make some more chain links. definitely getting faster at this whole process because that initial bit that I had before took me about 3 hours. And it's only taken me like an hour and a half or so to double it. So, definitely learning something, just not sure what yet. And it is amazing how much wire it takes to do this. Like, I was thinking I'd be, twice as much mail made for the amount of wire that I've used. But then I forget it's a 5-in-1 pattern, or a 3-in-1 pattern at least. And that's just a lot of links. It's like there's no other way to put it. It's just a lot of chain link to put together, which means lots of wire. I mean, we're probably looking at several hundred yards of wire if you stretched it all out into one long strand by the time this thing's done. I mean, each time I do this, each one of these springs is about 8 feet total of wire. So we're at least 25 to 30 feet worth of wire so far just to get that much done. You know that scene in movies where it's like, son, this is your father's sword and your father's armor. Go to war. We've entrusted you with this. It's like we've just entrusted you with the more than the family farm is worth in that sword and that chainmail shirt you're wearing. Don't die and lose it out on the battlefield. Don't disgrace the family, you frickin' slug. Got another spring. Oh, crap. Yeah, that's essentially how this starts, is just with a spring. You're essentially making a spring to begin with, which is really funny to me that you start out with a spring. I mean, we're about 6 or 7 springs into this total, if that's any measure of what we're doing here. Yeah, seriously. Not only are you losing a son, but you're losing like a farm and a half's worth of money and the equivalent animals amount. Like, you could have just sold it and had your son be a farmer. But you risk it all by sending him off to war. How to be a great parent in the medieval times, 101. Sell the armor and buy a farm instead. I wonder if they're, like, the soldiers' moms packed them anything before they sent them off to, like, training. Like, you know, here's some jerky for the trip. Don't die on the way there from exposure. Make sure not to drink the river water. You'll get dysentery. You know, pat them on the head and send them off. Be a good boy now. Don't die out there. Because when you consider a lot of soldiers started their career at like 13, 14 years old back then. Like, you're sending middle schoolers off to go die because somebody stole a stool from you. And that's no joke either. There was a French emissary that stole a stool from the Queen of England when he was sent to go talk to her about something. And a whole war started over the damn stool. Literally, a couple thousand people died because this stool, her favorite place to rest her feet, was stolen. So a bunch of people sent their sons and daughters out, you know, to war over a damn stool. Be real pissed off. You're on the front lines and everybody's getting slaughtered. Why are we even out here fighting this war? We must avenge the Queen's stool. Yeah, exactly. I mean, death was all around you back in the day. Food poisoning would kill you. The common cold would kill you. The water would kill you. You had the Black Plague, which wiped out like a crap ton of people for no reason. Or you could just be sent off to war because somebody's freaking footstool got stolen. I'm sorry, but if I was going to war and I found out the war was because somebody stole the Queen's stool, I'd be like, alright, screw this, I'm going home. They can have the damn stool. I don't care how fancy that stool is, I ain't dying for a damn stool. Especially because it ain't even my damn stool. And it's not like the Queen couldn't afford to have another one made. That just shows you the ruling class and rich people always think that the working class are expendable. Things always, the more they change, the more they stay the same. Like, the medieval period, to me, It's like that song, The Dumb Ways to Die. So many dumb ways to die. Yeah, that's the medieval period in a nutshell. And I mean, people were so desensitized to it back then. Like, you were so used to seeing dead bodies in the streets and watching family members die in horrible ways. Like, it was just another day. It's like, what happened to Uncle Steve? Oh yeah, didn't you hear he got crushed by one of his bulls out on the farm? Oh well, damn, I was hoping I was gonna go and have some of that ale he made. It's like, well, he's not making any ale anymore. He's dead as hell. That bull stomped his guts out. Well, is Aunt Charlotte still good? No, she died of dysentery because he wasn't around to make the ale, so she started drinking the river water. Oh, what about their son? Oh, he's in the poorhouse now because he tried to steal a loaf of bread. They cut off his fingers. Shit was rough back then. Now you got people complaining about first world problems like, oh my god, my Wi-Fi is too slow, I'm going to die. Go, okay, good luck with that, friend. I don't think you're actually going to die because your Wi-Fi is slow. Could you imagine if just overnight we went back to medieval living standards? Like, some catastrophic event happens, the power's gone, the grid's gone, there's no electricity, no internet, none of that shit, and all of these modern people have to live like people did back in the day. Like, half of them would die off in the first 8 hours because they'd be drinking the river water, and they'd get dysentery and shit their brains out. Another half of them would die within a month because they don't know how to hunt, and the ones that do know how to hunt would take all the good food. And then you have all the vegans. Don't even get me started on them. They'd be dead within a week because they don't know how to survive. They'd go to the grocery store, and the grocery store would have nothing on the shelves, and they'd be like, where's my tofu bagels? Where's my avocado toast? Oh my god. Like, maybe you should have learned how to make your own bread, friend. Instead of complaining about people culling livestock and eating steak. I mean, I know how to hunt, I know how to fish, I know how to do all that stuff. I know how to make my own bows, I know how to make my own fishing hooks. COVID was a perfect example of that. Yep, exactly. I just can't get past all the idiots out there who assaulted other people for not wearing a mask. It's like, you do realize masks were made to protect yourself, not other people. Don't even get me started on that dog shit. Fucking Fauci. That dumbass. Oh, wear 3 masks. No, don't wear any masks. No, I never said to wear a mask. Wear 6. Oh, by the way, did you get the 30-second dose of the vaccine? Fucking dumbass. If the vaccine works, you only need 1 dose. Maybe a secondary. I know plenty of phlebotomists and doctors that would argue with that point. I feel like COVID was like a practice exam to see how many people would submit to authoritarian rule, and so many people just bent over and took it right up the ass. now it's coming out that like people are getting blood clots like a foot long in their body from the vaccine and all kinds of other crap. And you know, the pharmaceutical companies that made that shit are never going to be responsible for it because they have legal protections, because they lobby Congress so much and they're such good friends with them. Yeah, exactly. Things ain't always sunshine and rainbows. This ain't, and it was nowhere. The thing that gets me is like you look at the Black Death in Europe, and it was like the Black Death was horrific. Like a third of the population died in less than a year. It was so bad that they had to haul people out in carts because everyone was dying. And it was like these horrible buboes in the plague. And there were still people having parties, drinking, going out in the streets and dancing. Like, they took that shit better than we took COVID. Really goes to show how soft modern people are. It's just like when people say words are violence, that shit makes me laugh so goddamn hard, man. Words can't be violence. That's not a possibility. Words can lead to violence, that's for sure. But words themselves cannot be violence. It's just not how that works. we're getting somewhere. Slowly but surely. One ring at a time, we're making chainmail. I could not imagine how much longer it would take to do riveted chainmail compared to butted chainmail, and I don't think I want to know. Because riveted chainmail is just absolutely absurd to me. You have to rivet each and every single ring together instead of just butting it together. It's just, no thank you. I'll stick to the butted chainmail. I don't plan on getting attacked by a sword, so I don't think I need the level of protection that that riveted chainmail offers over butted chainmail. I think I'll just stick to the butted chainmail because this is just for aesthetics and just for looks. And I mean, it would still stop a slash or like a zombie trying to chew through my head, so, or my chest. So I mean, granted, if the zombie apocalypse ever kicks off, I'm throwing this shirt on, because good luck biting through chainmail. But aside from the zombie apocalypse, this isn't really going to serve much practical use. Yeah, exactly. So, like, the way that butted chainmail would work is instead of, riveted chainmail. So, with a butted chainmail, all you have to do is assemble the 5-in-1 pattern and basically clamp these closed and kind of slightly cross them and butt them up against each other so that way they can't come undone. Riveted chainmail, you would take a really tiny punch and you would spread these out more. Then you would overlap them, punch a hole in that, and rivet those together for every single link. That is just an entirely unnecessary amount of work, in my opinion. At least for a modern set of mail. I mean, if you're trying to go for functional mail that's going to protect you from swords, slashes, and stabs as best as possible, then yeah, go ahead and, waste 20,000 hours assembling some riveted mail. But since I'm just doing this for, like, cosplay purposes at Ren fairs and shit, and for videos when I make, little skit videos, I think I'm just gonna stick with the the butted mail, because yeah, you aren't gonna catch me doing that crazy shit. But we are making progress. We are getting a good length here going. So let's see. Yeah, we're about halfway down now. So this is going to come down to here. So we're a little over halfway down at this point. I've actually made it somewhat long. That's actually cool. I just need about double that length, and then I can start working it out. I might just go ahead and do it this way first, and then work it down from there, because we're almost there. Yeah, I might just do that. I might just take it out to the edges of my shoulders, and then start working it down from there in longer sets. That might be the play here. And then don't forget, we still have to do the over-the-shoulder parts to connect it. We still have to do the sides to connect it, the sleeves, and the back. So we're going to have to do this all over again for the same size for the back. Oh, man. Why do I not look forward to this? Why have I done this to myself? Well, it's time for more links. I'm going to take a quick run inside to the restroom real quick, though. So I'll be right back. Alright, I've returned. Alrighty. Let's get another section of wire pulled out. I think I'm just going to make this one incredibly long, just because the more I can make at a time, the longer I can spend actually putting it together and the less time I have to take doing other shit in between. Okay, we got a good 12 feet. Where did I put my cross tube at? Ah, there it is. Yeah, slowly but surely we'll get it made and we'll get it finished up, man. And when it's finally done, you'll be able to say you were here for the whole thing. You watched somebody meticulously assemble an entire chainmail vest. And then after that, like I said, we got to forge some pauldrons. We got to forge some other pieces of armor that are going to go with it, because it's going to kind of be like a, if in video game terms it would be a medium armor set. Like, we're not going for full-on heavy armor, and we're not going for like light armor. We're going somewhere in the middle. Let me adjust this camera angle so hopefully the lighting gets better. I don't want to blind you guys. Oh, come on, don't get tangled. That's not what we want. There we go. Oh yay, look at the guy wrapping a piece of wire around a piece of brass. Woohoo! Most entertaining thing on the planet, people. Why watch a bunch of anime girls jumping up and down when you can watch a man wrap a wire around a stick? Just man things. Only the real men will understand. All the teenagers trying to get laid are going to go watch the girl jump up and down. All the men that actually have wives will probably be interested by this process. How to know you're a married man 101. Do you enjoy watching wire get wrapped around a stick? You're probably married. It's no wonder when I look at my metrics, like, most of the people watching my channel are like grown men older than 25. I don't get a lot of younger guys watching my stuff because they just don't have the attention span. They're still thinking with their pecker instead of using their brain. So they're like, oh, this is boring. Look at this geek making fucking chainmail. And all the guys that are like over 25 and married are looking at it like, dude, you gotta see this. This dude's making chainmail. It's just really funny. I'm gonna have enough rust on my hands to make some thermite. Anybody got some aluminum oxide? Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta figure most dudes that are younger, especially in the modern day, they're not raised to be patient. They're not raised to think like men. They're raised to, quite frankly, think like little girls. Really horny, for the most part, too. They just haven't matured enough. So you being younger and being interested in this kind of stuff just tells me you're mature for your age, which is a very good thing. Might not make you the most popular guy in your time, but you'll get ahead of everybody else. That's for sure. While they're sitting there wasting their times and their money on OnlyFans girls, you'll actually be making something of yourself, so. Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. Because coming from that type of background, you learn about hard work. You learn about real life. You learn about the real world, not this artificial one that the internet's created, that so many people think is the real world. But almost everything online is fake to some degree. Oh, this is going to be a fun one to get off of here. I may have screwed myself by making it so long. Oh, wait. You hear that? Screaming? It's angry. Come on, you freaking piece of shit. Get off there. Yeah. Almost there. Almost there. So here I am talking crap about OnlyFans, and it looks like I'm doing something from OnlyFans right now. Oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Don't get stuck. You're right there. Yes. All right. One moment. Alrighty, I'm back. Got some of my guys messaging me on the texts. Wednesday nights are guys' nights out. Luckily, I found a woman who actually understands that. Okay. I'm going to drop you guys down a little bit so you can see a little closer what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, most definitely. So usually on Wednesdays what happens is I go and I hang out with the bros, and my wife goes and hangs out with her friends, her female friends, and so they have a girls' night and we have a guys' night, and basically we all just kind of go and chill with our friends and catch up and BS and all that stuff. That's one thing I would say to a young man, especially if you're still looking for a woman in your life, is find a woman that understands that, yes, you are a couple, but you also need to be able to do things independently as well. You're a team, but you're also an individual. Yeah, my wife and I, we got together back when I was 17 and a half, and she had just turned 18. And we've been together for almost 12 years now. Been married for about 6 years. No, 5 or 6 years. But yeah, we've been together for a very long time. Never once have we even thought about getting separated from each other. Good relationships based off of mutual respect and love. And people will tell you oh, love is an overwhelming feeling. Oh, love is this, love is that. No, love is a choice. Real love is choosing to love another person beyond their faults. And when they choose to love you beyond your faults. Love is a choice you make every day of deciding to overcome things together rather than fighting over things that each other want. Love is about making compromises, about being patient, and caring for the other person more than you care for yourself. That's why so many relationships don't last nowadays, is because people are like, oh, the feeling's gone. It's not the same as when we were first dating. Of course it's not the same as when you were first dating. You know each other better now. And a big part of it is, if you're not mature enough to love yourself, you're not mature enough to love anybody else. You have to learn to love yourself and accept yourself for who you are, for your faults, for your good and your bad. Because if you can't do that, you can't do it for somebody else. You'd be surprised how hot these get when you hit them like this too, when you flatten them out. Builds up a lot of internal friction. And these get rather toasty. Making rings, making rings. Sonic the Hedgehog would be jealous as fuck. Making rings, making Sonic the Hedgehog jealous. be surprised how many rings you can get out of 12 feet of steel. Definitely take a minute to process them all into rings, though. Probably twice, if not 3 times the length of the other springs that we've made on the stream so far. So this one's taken a while to process into actual rings before we can put them into the mail. But that's good, because that means I'm going to be able to add more sections to this mail in this sitting. It's like blacksmithing ASMR. Tikink, tap, tap, tap. Tikink, tap, tap, tap. It would be interesting to see if you could keep count of how many rings you end up using. Yeah, that's going to be tricky to do, considering I've already set this many up. What I could do is, I don't know how accurate it'll be, but I know that it's a 5-in-1 pattern, and I know that once I get done with at least the chest and the back portions, I'll be able to count, you know, each edge of it. So with some basic maths, I should be able to deduce roughly how many rings are on each side, the front and the back, and the sleeves and shoulder portions, and then add it all together. But my guess is it's probably going to take about 5,000, somewhere in there, to make this. That's just going off of guesstimation. There's not really any maths behind that, so to speak, right now. But once I get this done, I will do some basic mathematicses. Hi, I'm new here. Hello, new here. I'm Zach. How you doing? making a chainmail shirt, slowly but surely. This is outside of my wheelhouse. Usually I'm a bladesmith. Usually blacksmithing and martial arts stuff is what's on my channel. But I figured I'd try my hand at making myself a chainmail shirt, because I'm going to make an armor set for when I do Renaissance fairs and sell stuff at Renaissance fairs. And I want to have myself a set of armor for when I do such a thing. So what you're seeing right now is me making rings for my chainmail before I add them to the existing piece of mail that I have right here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I always like chit-chatting with people. As Chris can tell you, you text something, you type something in, you leave a comment, you leave a message. I will do my best to reply to every single one and give good answers. The chainmail I'm making is butted mail, not riveted mail, because I'm not a lunatic. I'm only slightly insane. Is that Ronin Saibot or Sabo? So like a Ninja Saibot or a Ninja Sabo? Because a Saibot and a Sabo are two very distinctly different things in my understanding. Ninja Sai. Alright, cool. So are you a martial artist yourself? Or are you just a very big lover of the Mortal Kombat games? Because that's where I remember Saibot from, was like Noob Saibot and those guys from Mortal Kombat. That is awesome. Martial arts are a great thing, my friend. Martial arts are a great thing. They consumed a large portion of my life and still do. So, that is always good. Alrighty. Alrighty, McTidy, McLefty, McLucy. We got some rings. And actually a decent amount of them now. I just dropped one somewhere. Oh well. Kind of do your own thing. That's perfectly fine. I ain't gonna fault you for that. I studied several different martial arts, so I kind of combine them for my own purposes as well. I feel like every fighter should have a different toolbox for themselves. Nobody has the same body, let's say. Yeah. Martial arts should all be, like, your toolbox should be varied, you know? Every martial art complements other martial arts. No one martial art is perfect. Every martial art has its own weaknesses and strengths. But when you combine them, you can create a toolbox that is very, very useful. Gotta love when YouTube recommends random channels with 3 viewers. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Colton. I try to mix. Yep. Well, I mean, that's essentially what MMA is. If you think about it, that's exactly what MMA is mixed martial arts. It's a mix of different martial arts to see what's most effective and what works well together and what doesn't. Well, thanks for popping in, Colton. Great outlook to definitely have. Yeah, I mean, as a practitioner of Taekwondo, because that was my first martial art, my first love in martial arts, so to speak. Being a black belt in that, studying that for a long time. When I first started, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the ultimate in martial arts. And then I went and started doing other martial arts like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm like, damn, there are gaps that I had that I wasn't even aware of. And then you learn to fill those gaps, and you realize that you have to learn to pair things together. Everything's better when it's not just the one strict martial art. Let's assemble this next set. Open that up just a little bit. There we go. Now, once we get this wide enough to cross my chest completely from shoulder to shoulder, then we can start adding length to it for the front part of the body. This is my first time ever making chainmail. I've made plenty of blades, plenty of knives and swords and pole arms and all that stuff, but first time making chainmail. And I can guarantee you this will be the last time I make chainmail, unless somebody pays me a lot of money to do it. If I didn't want to make myself a set of armor so bad, I wouldn't be making this. This is a lot of rings. The armor will add a cool new touch to things and make some great videos. Oh yeah, absolutely. It'll definitely make some good videos. And I mean, when I do like the skit videos and stuff that I do where I make fun of different video game mechanics, I won't just be wearing like a t-shirt. I'll actually have some armor to go with it, you know? So it'll be pretty funny, I think. Now the question is, once I make the armor set, can I still pull off like tornado kicks and stuff while wearing however many pounds of metal this is going to equate to when it's finished? That's going to be fun. I'm going to have to try and see that. Like, if you can still pull off like a tornado kick or a 540 kick wearing excess amounts of metal armor. Dude, it's been a minute since I last saw your stream, but you made good progress. Thank you, man. Yeah, I've been working on the chainmail all day. Like I said, this is eventually going to become a shirt. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time to complete. I doubt that I'm going to get anywhere near done today on stream. I've only got maybe another hour to 2 hours before I'm going to have to end it for the day, because I've got some stuff to do and some people to hang out with. Got some bros to chill with, as they say. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 more. But yeah, Swamp, this is quite a process. It takes a long time to assemble chainmail. Lots and lots and lots of links. Yeah, it'll definitely be a cool thing, cool new addition for the channel. It's another reason I'm making it, is for shits and giggles, right? And the experience. I mean, not everybody... I remember welding chest armor that's... That would be fun. I do plan on making some plate armor, not probably a chest piece, probably not going to make a cuirass, since I went through all the trouble of making the chainmail. The chainmail is going to be the centerpiece for the body. I'm going to have some pauldrons, probably 1 or 2 on the shoulders. Going to make some gauntlets, going to make some greaves, some things like that. But it's going to be a whole armor set, man. And you guys are witnessing the birth of something incredible. It's going to take a while, but it's going to be badass when it's done. And it's going to be heavy. I kind of want to... I like to push myself. I like to test my limits, test my skills, you know? And I feel like assembling an entire armor set out of things that I've forged myself, chainmail that I make each chain link by hand. I mean, how many people on the planet are going to be able to say that they've done this? You do this all the time. I do make weapons and forge and stuff all the time, but making chainmail, making chainmail is a whole nother ballpark for me. That's for sure. I've always thought it would be fun to take prints of armor, use leather armor design and make them out of steel. That would be really cool. So the pauldrons I have the idea to make for this are going to be based out of a set that is in the Wallace collection. So there's an armor set that they think was a kind of a forest armor set. It was for the rangers that watched the King's Forest, and it had chainmail for the body, pauldrons, gauntlets, greaves, and a helmet. And it was like a medium armor set kind of thing, and that's what I'm basing this whole armor set off of. Recommend that when you make chest armor that it is intended to be hit by projectiles. Make sure something to deflect bits of shrapnel. Oh yes, absolutely. I've watched a lot of the videos from Todd Cutler where they're testing arrows versus armor, and that poor dummy, man, he ate a lot of bits of arrowhead and arrow shaft. The neck had kind of like a V around it that helped deflect it. But I don't intend on actually using the armor for combative purposes. I just intend on making it for aesthetic purposes. So hopefully I'll never have to find out if it deflects projectiles very well. I don't know if you guys saw the brass wire mail that I made a while ago, but I did test that against several different mediums. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close. Another 6 inches longer and we'll be able to start making it come down. So Ranger's armor, are you going to... Probably. Mainly this is going to be for, like I said, for Renaissance fairs and videos. In videos, I'll almost definitely be using one of my bows for videos. It just depends on what the rules are at the Renaissance fair as to what I'm allowed to carry. Because I don't know how well they'll take to me carrying a strung bow around the Renaissance Festival. Chainmail blanket made out of aluminum welding wire. That could be cool. That could be pretty cool. So this is mild steel. Well, not mild steel. It is essentially a mild steel, but it's baling wire. It's what you would use for baling and tying off fences and things like that. So it's a mild steel, but it's a stronger mild steel. But aluminum would be really cool because it wouldn't rust and it would stay shiny forever. But I wanted to make it out of the authentic material. And modern mild steel is roughly equivalent to the steel they would have used for chainmail back in the day. When I make the plate armor pieces, they're going to be made out of high carbon steels and hardened and tempered. So they will be the real deal. Like, they would be able to deflect sword blows and arrows and things like that. The chainmail, not so much. Chainmail, it doesn't do the greatest against heavy powered bows. It just kind of punches right through it and rips the rivets right apart. And this isn't even riveted mail, this is butted mail, which is what the Ranger armor was. What time is it? Oh shit, it's 5:30. Give me one moment. I just need to make a call real quick.